Hey guys, so this is another painting of mine. I currently would situate it in stage 4 because it's got all the basic shapes. It just needs tweaking on the colour and, well, the bottom part, you can't really see it actually, the bottom part is pretty much complete. So I'm going to be working from quarter up. So I need to sort out the sky because that's the furthest away, also known as the background. I just want to put a thin white layer over it just to hide little bits of the blue, because I quite like the kind of marks that the sky I have at the moment because it's quite different, but it also kind of reminds me of the fact that that's moving whilst this is in a temporary state, a permanent state of, well, I want to say stillness, but it's just permanently there. So we're gonna do that then. So as always, I have what I'm going to be using, Winsor & Newton oil paints. I think I can find my white. No, here you go. Winsor & Newton white. What I might do at the start, because I don't want to work on the sky straight away actually, I think I might just start with this kind of area, just adding in little bits of white to give it a bit more depth, as I know that trees aren't mostly green. So I'm just going to work on this midsection so it's not going to overrun or connect with kind of where the trees stop and the mountain begins, because obviously after I've done the mountain I would probably have to touch up the little top bits of the trees just to make it look like the trees are in front of the mountain. So there's little bits which I want to touch. It's very, very fine details. Hopefully you can see this on the camera. To give the impression of light hitting trees on the leaves. I don't want to overdo it, but I don't want to underdo it, if you know what I mean. What's so great about this white is that you actually only need the tiniest amount to create an impression of what could be there. And the white is quite a pigmented white, which is exactly what you want, because the worst thing is when you have a white that's kind of muted, I don't want to say muted down, but the pigment isn't as good and it's kind of watery. It's kind of like acrylic, more like acrylic than oil, which can be a complete disaster. Okay, over here you've got quite a lot of dark shapes, so I'm just gonna suggest areas that the light is hitting. So this is much more blocky, this tree, because there's certain areas which I've already put on the canvas that are darker. Just means I can kind of dot around. Without going too overboard. Okay, there's quite a lot of nice detail. It's just the little simple things that kind of just really gives it that depth filled, which I absolutely love. Put some white up here. Oh, I forgot to say this canvas is oh god, I always get confused. That's A4, A3, A2. I think it's A2, roughly A2. Give it a couple of inches in depth. I'm not very good. I always get confused between A2 and A3 for some reason. I know they're completely different sizes, but it's just one of those things you just can't get your head around. Okay, I think that will do for the whiteness along here, just because I don't want to overdo it and then it'll just kind of look like a white blob. Since I'm going to be using quite a lot of white in this anyway, so this should be thin enough. Alright, I'm going to quickly go change. I don't know why I put my pot right near there. I'm just going to quickly go and change this pot because it's got some really dirty water and I want to use pure white water for this. Okay, now that I've cleaned my brush the best I can, I'm going to go straight from the, oh my god, what's it called? Container. I'm just going to call this container. Smudge a bit of white on there. Just thin this out as much as I can. Obviously I will get some what do you call it, contaminated colours because I can't completely make this white, which is fine. I can always go back over it. Kind of come off as an off-white, which is fine because I can easily correct that later. That sounds so later of me, but like as you add more white to the canvas, it will neutralize itself. Okay, it's getting there. Some of you are probably thinking, why didn't I just use a new brush? I don't have a new brush. I only have about 5 brushes, and they're the ones that have probably lasted the longest. If you do have a new brush, it probably is better just to use a new brush, because then you get the pure white. But that's not really what I wanted to go for. Obviously this is going to have a little hint, and it's going to become like more of an off-white colour, which for me is fine because I feel like it's going to work with the what I'm actually painting. But it's totally up to you if you want to use a new brush. I would suggest using a new brush, as it can be easier, but I like to go the hard way for no reason, because why not? When it comes to the edges, like painting the edges, I tend to not do the sides unless it happens by accident, just because it's annoying when you're just painting the whole painting and then you've got to paint the sides and then you forget that the sides are wet, and trying to move it about is just really hard, especially if it doesn't have a middle wooden panel. That's when it gets really difficult and you're like, oh my god, why did I paint the sides? And then you have to leave it on your easel, you can't move it without like spreading paint everywhere, and then before you know it you can't do any work that requires an easel because of this situation. Okay, it's looking pretty damn good. And carry on. I always forget when you film and everything's backwards. So this corner I would think, oh, you're not going to be able to see that, but it's actually the opposite corner. You can't see very well. Okay, it's looking a lot better on my side, I don't know about you. Obviously it's not going to be perfect because I don't really like perfect. Because there's always, if a painting's perfect, you kind of just look at it once and that's it. But if you kind of see like the little marks and mistakes, you kind of observe it a bit more. Well, that's how I feel like with painting. If it's not perfect, you kind of, doesn't have to, basically I'm saying it doesn't have to be realistic to be a good piece of work, because you find paintings that aren't realistic are actually much more interesting. You kind of go, oh yeah, I recognise the talent, but I don't really get why people like realistic paintings. Like, I get you can draw with great skill and make things look exactly the same, but isn't that what eyeballs are for? I don't know. If you guys have an opinion on this, please let me know. Write it down in the comments, that'd be fun, dabby dozy. I really like this sky actually, because there's like obviously little bits of white and blue peeping through. So it might actually need another coat. Let's see. Oh, I just remembered, in some of my other painting videos, obviously they're portraits so you can see the background quite well. There is a couple of paintings. I think the one you're most likely to see is probably the one of Worth the Travers. That one's actually completed. I think it's in the last painting video with the kind of the tree trunk, I want to say. Like, that one was quite surprised because I was just like fiddling around. I still couldn't get my head around painting. Now I found a technique to get myself into painting, and I just kind of looked at it and I was like, oh my god, a spatula does the job. I was really quite proud of it, just because I know how much painting can be hard in itself. But yes, so that's the background, main background sorted. Really like this. In your point of view, you can kind of see how it moves along, and all the little bits of texture, and the blue pops through now and again, kind of simulating the sky, which is what I want. So I'm going to move straight on to the mountains, hopefully with similar success, because this took ages to build up and form. So we're just gonna let me go over, and this is just the offput from my brush from before. I'm just using white spirit here. This part is the brightest because it's the bit closest to the sun. Kind of make it look milky. I'm probably wondering what the hell these kind of house shape things in what's meant to be the mountains. They're kind of like, well, this is a landscape in Turkey where hundreds of years ago, don't judge me if I don't get this right, they used to build their grave, like kind of tombs in the mountains, and whoever can go up highest and the most elegant is kind of like, look at me, I'm kind of closer to God. When I die, I'm gonna be better off, that kind of story. There is a name for the place, but I cannot remember for the life of me. I'm not very good with like names and details, so I'll link it down below. I'll put the actual name of it down below, just so you guys can have a look if you want to. I'm just going to add some white, thicker white around here. I was going to say something in it, but I thought best not, because it just sounds gross. I don't know why there's a bit of pink down here, so I'm just gonna scrub it out, just line it out. It's looking pretty damn cool. Obviously it's going to take a couple of layers of I'm just going to call this technique milking, because it reminds me of milk and like lactation. I know it sounds really gross, but it's the truth. I can't hide it from myself anymore. I'm also sorry if the canvas is moving. I've tried my best to hook it down, but this is only a really cheap easel I've had for like donkey years, so that means a long time for anyone who doesn't get Bristolian knit lingo. Oh, 17 minutes already, bloody hell. Okay, I'm gonna leave that part. I'll probably put the second part in another video just because it's a lot easier to download and upload, but I'm sure it'll be back to back, so there shouldn't be any confusion. Thanks so much for watching for this far. If you made it this far, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. Thanks for your support. As always, positive, negative feedback down below, and give this video a like if you'd like to see more, etc, etc, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!